Hey, what's up you guys? This is Rob from A Gay Guy Plays, and today on the three-way we're spreading the dirty, dirty love with Saryn. So, after a lot of playtesting, I'll be 100% honest with you. Saryn only really truly shines when going up against Grineer and Infested due to the elemental changes to Miasma and Venom. She's especially amazing in group play when it comes to high volumes of enemies like survival and defense. So today I'm going to show you a playable Miasma focused build for group play, a more balanced version for solo play, and an all-around build for newcomers. Now, I'm going to warn you straight off the bat, there's nothing tricky or gimmicky about these builds. Saryn's mechanics are all fairly straightforward, and regardless of how much fiddling around I did with the build, there wasn't really anything too special I could come up with. But it was requested, and I am a man of my word. So let's jump straight into the build. As you can tell, I've got 4 Forma into this build, and as usual we start with altering the polarity into my favorite bar slot, then added an additional bar, defense, and V slot. So the first build I wanted to show you was how to maximize Saryn's signature ability while still keeping her playable in a group setting. Now the last thing that I wanted to do was create a press 4 to win build, but let's be honest with ourselves. Unless it's an extremely high level defense using Nyx or Vauban, you're really not going to be using Venom. Unless it's an infested mission, you're probably not going to be using Molt, and I'll show you that build next anyway. And frankly, people only really use Contagion when they feel like dicking around. So, per usual, let's start off with Energy Siphon in the Aura slot. Then we'll toss in a Vitality and Redirection to give her a significant boost to her survivability. Next comes Flow in order to ensure that she's always got a large pool of energy to work with, and Miasma to turn all them boys into mush. Toxic drippy mush, but mush nonetheless. Then we pump up the potency of the Perilous Poison Princess by the placement of both Focus and Blind Rage mods. And to offset the increased energy consumption, we add in both Streamline and Fleeting Expertise. Now here's an interesting fact. While Fleeting Expertise can reduce the effectiveness of the rest of her abilities, it actually improves Miasma by shortening the time in between each tick of damage that it does, thus speeding up the gooey deaths of anyone who opposes her. The last slot is for Stretch, just to give Miasma a bit of a bump. Note that I didn't add in an overextended because I wanted to make sure to keep her ulti as powerful as possible. If you don't mind the trade-off, then feel free to slot it in. There is a space for a maxed out version to be added. Now, lastly, I filled in the gap with Venom just in case you wanted to do some nice single target damage, or see if you couldn't get a viral proc off on a boss mob. Just note that it's not going to last very long due to the Redux by Fleeting Expertise. So the next build is actually what I use as solo with Saryn. It's a really simple switch. We swap out a maxed Fleeting Expertise for a lower ranked version, then slot in Molt and adopt a more evasive playstyle. If you don't mind eating up a little more power, you can even swap out the Fleeting Expertise for a 9-point mod like a maxed out Fast Deflection, or a not quite maxed out Vigor to assist with survivability. But personally I like the slight Redux, and Molt stays up just long enough for me to clear the room. Now if you're in a group setting, especially in higher level defense, you can swap out Fleeting for Venom, which can soften up some of the tougher enemies with the viral proc. The last build is great for new players. It doesn't use any corrupted mods or anything super rare, and it gives you a pretty good base to start learning Saryn's mechanics and figuring out how you best enjoy playing her. Now, one of the things that I didn't cover heavily is Venom. Using this in solo and high level defense is fun as all hell. And now that it has a chance to proc the viral HP debuff, it definitely has a good chance to help in the dispatch of some of the bigger, scarier targets. Also, with Miasma adopting the Corrosive Elemental combo, she's quite good at melting down the lighter Ferrite armored targets of the Grineer, and eating away at the fossilized disruptors and toxic ancients of the Infested. One of the things to keep in mind is that Saryn's survivability stems from the simultaneous synergy of her base stats and her skill Molt, and that's why I specifically added it into the featured solo build. Although she does have some of the highest base values for health and shields, she doesn't have much CC to keep enemies from whittling her down. So a good Molt placement will help keep enemies off of your back while you put your nice hefty heal through enemy units. Unless they're like Infested or Robotic, then I'm not really sure if they have units. But then again, Grineer are clones, so who knows if they're packing anything other than test tube receptacles. But, you know, that's a discussion for another day. Thanks for watching another episode of The Three-Way. If you feel like joining in, be sure to leave your thoughts and any additional tips and tricks in the comments below. Per usual, don't forget to do the thing that I ask you to do at the end of every one of these, and be sure to remember to subscribe for more gaming content here at A Gay Guy Plays. Okay, I know it's not special to anybody else, but look what I just figured out how to do. I feel so pro.